Hey friends, and welcome once again to this week's episode of What's More with Feelings. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Beth, and we are a emotional journey podcast. We watch movies, we discuss them, we can talk about how our feelings intersect with that movie.
The feels, all the feels. As you can tell, my voice isn't back yet, but that's okay. We are doing these out of order, so, don't matter. This week's movie is the obscure 1988 classic, I guess. I don't know if you'd call it a classic, but it is is it her only movie?
No.
Okay.
No, it is not.
Okay. This is Jeff Goldblum and Cyndi Lauper in Vibes. It was directed by Ken Kwapis. Is that how you say his name?
Yep. Yeah, it stars Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum as psychics hired to locate a lost Incan city in the Ecuadorian Andes, which is believed to hold immense psychic energy. The plot unfolds with twists involving deceit, danger, and the discovery of a hidden treasure. That is the Wikipedia.
Yes. There's not really, there's a treasure, but it's not really the treasure I guess they're all looking for.
It was not in the budget.
No, it was not in the budget.
Trust me, there is a budget to this movie, and they blew it on the green screen. Well, we know Ken Kwapis directed. He's done a lot.
He has.
He's done a lot of stuff. He directed many episodes of The Office. Mm-hmm. In fact, he was a showrunner for quite a while, in which he was the tastemaker, is what they called him on the show.
Okay.
In which he set up the, kind of the way in which it was done on
that
The Office.
one-shot filming.
No, really, well, I guess.
Continuous camera.
A lot of that was like from, I think, Greg Daniels, really, but Ken Kwapis was kind of the one that was the tastemaker. He literally went through and found popular things that would be used, like when they do the lip syncing and stuff like that.
So whatever was popular at the time, kind of bringing the
that.
pop culture stuff, the modern pop culture into
Making it more realistic because you're influenced by that.
Like the dance at the wedding.
Right, that kind of thing. Now, I don't know if he had a hand in every one of those.
No,
But he was, especially because we had the writers who were back and forth between acting and writing, that he often was the one who helped take care of things.
Okay.
But he did a lot of things. He did movies. He's done a lot of stuff. I have to assume that he was on set a few times for this film.
One would assume. He did Malcolm in the Middle, which I love. Malcolm in the Middle. It was one of my favorite shows.
He did one of my favorite is Freaks and Geeks.
Yes, he did Freaks and Geeks. He did...
that kind of set him up for all his future things.
Oh, yeah.
So...
he also did The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants and He's Just Not Into You. That was his directorial movies. But this was executive produced by Ron Howard, which surprised me.
Yeah, in fact, I think it surprised a lot of people. There was a critic who was seriously asking Ron Howard through her critique, what were you on, basically? Why did you do this? I remember this better as being a better film.
Oh, see, yes.
Campy, but better.
Yeah, so when you're younger and you watch a movie that has a relationship in it, and so when I watch this, and this is going to be one of those rare mushy moments for Michelle because I don't usually have them, but there was just something about these two people who had nothing in common, going to another country, going on this adventure,
It's romancing the stone.
It was very romantic to me. And I love Cyndi Lauper. I wanted to be her. And so when I was younger watching this, because it came out in 88, I was just at the end of my freshman year. So yeah, this was I wanted that. I wanted that so much. And now watching it, I can see that when I was reading, when I was doing my research, I was reading that Jeff Goldblum and Cyndi Lauper did not get along, and during the set when they were filming, and now I can watch it and go, oh yeah, they really don't have.
Oh, they don't seem to be happy to be there at all.
No,
actually, he doesn't seem happy to be there. She seems pissed because he's not happy to be there.
And what really got me was he wasn't the first choice. Dan Aykroyd was, but because they were insistent on Cyndi,
he didn't want to do it. Right.
And it's not fair per se. I mean, she said it was different for her. She was learning a lot on the set because on stage you have to be big because you have to make your movements big, where on camera you have to make your movements smaller and that's like kind of not that I've ever been on camera, but I had to learn that on stage when I was doing community theater. Was my director at the time was Catherine Graybill, and she said, they are not going to get close-ups of you. So you have to emote with your body, not just your face.
I learned that on the streets when I had to do community service.
Oh, there you go. You got to emote with your body because you don't want,
it's all about presentation.
Exactly. You got to put the big arms, make yourself big bird, big cat, not just in the face.
Take down the first one.
Exactly.
Although you're not really supposed to do that to the supervisor, I found out.
No, they don't like it.
He was the toughest one. He had a gun.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes. You have to exert your dominance,
Exactly.
Just don't pee on them. So knowing all of that, it changes how I felt about their relationship. But it really, really bothered me that I love her, and I actually like him a lot too. But I think I don't know enough about Jeff Goldblum, but I'm under the impression that back in the 80s, he had a bigger ego than he has now. Like, his ego is now, like, just his personality, where back then, it was not the personality. Because
he was a new pup. He was still, like, coming up, and he didn't want to be... I can understand a lot of that. See, now, I don't see Cyndi Lauper as being a musical artist who is going into the movies. For some reason, it just never fazed me that she was in movies.
No.
And so I didn't really...
Like, even on TV.
Okay. Yeah, no, I never... It never was one of those things. Any other musician doing it, I was always like, oh, they're trying to act.
Yeah, like when Madonna did her thing with her movie, the not quite Basic Instinct movie.
Yeah, I just never saw her as getting into something she shouldn't be getting into, because I think she took it seriously at the time, but it was hard for me to take it seriously because it's not like she wasn't like trying to act as if she was, Juilliard trained.
No.
She was just being Cyndi Lauper. She wasn't really acting so much.
And like, even when you look at her in things later on, like when she was on Bones.
Right, as the medium. Yeah.
It's still Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, it's just her playing...
Yeah.
Her being Cyndi Lauper as if Cyndi Lauper had become a psychic, which is funny because this movie, she's pretending to be a psychic. So, yeah, it's the same basic structure. As she's just pretending she's Cyndi Lauper reimagined as this, not as a different character.
Yeah, unlike... That's the thing, when you do look at, like, Madonna acting, she is putting on a persona of somebody else. She's doing, like, what actors do. But in your head, you're going... it's Madonna. But with Cyndi Lauper, you can believe she's Sylvia Piquel because Sylvia Piquel is Cyndi Lauper. Like, does that make sense? Where it's like,
no, I get it.
Because Cindy's not trying to change the character.
You're explaining what I already know to me, so I'm like, yes, I agree, because you're agreeing with me.
Well, yeah, that's it. And I do see that because it does make sense where she's not trying to go completely outside of her range of ability. You know what movie Madonna did that I thought was the best Madonna movie? Who's That Girl? Because she's playing fucking Madonna.
No, that's true.
I don't like Desperately Seeking Susan, so I never acknowledge it. But I just don't like that movie that much. But that's just me. But Who's That Girl? it's Madonna.
Yeah.
Being Madonna. Playing around. Being kind of Cyndi Lauper-ish, but, you know.
Well, so yeah, I can see why he would be upset. Or just maybe not upset. Upset's probably not the right word. Just, it seems like probably it was a waste of his time. Because it was never going to be a vehicle that drove anything forward. Yeah,
and I don't know if Peter Falk ever had any opinions that he said out loud about it. He seemed to be having a grand old time.
He seemed to be the only one happy to be there.
Yeah, he really
Out of every, I'm talking about every character. Bad guys.
He was the funniest, honestly.
Right, the bad guys, the good guys, whatever. Peter Falk was the one that was like, I'm having a great time. I get to, I can actually see Peter Falk really happy to be able to go and maybe be in this hotel room and hang out. And, maybe that's not the case.
No,
but you really get the sense that he was having the time of his life.
Yeah. How do you say cookies in Spanish? I know how to say milk. That's leches.
But that's the energy he put into the role, which I've honestly never seen him put in before.
He's probably thinking it's better than sitting at my grandson's sick bedside narrating a fairy tale that I'm not even a part of,
But, I mean, for me, I think it's Cyndi Lauper, she's there. I know she's earnest.
Yes.
Okay, she is earnest. She is trying, but she's never going to get an Academy Award.
Oh, no. This movie's not intended for such things.
I would hope not. Because
this is definitely entertainment value.
You cannot go by the writers of something to know whether or not something's going to be good. We found this out when we dealt with Short Circuit versus Tremors.
Yes.
And having the same writers, whereas this set of writers has done other things that have been great.
And directed and producing things that have been great.
Right. But it is a campy, fun little movie that does not hold up.
No. I mean...
It has worse graphics than Ghostbusters without any scale. It's
really like that one or two scenes that are just really...
It is the smallest scale possible of a movie. They keep it centered on them only. And I am absolutely sure they were begging for places to shoot film.
I mean, probably.
I don't think they had a locations director or anything. They were just walking around going, this looks good. I don't know if they went on location at all. I kind of doubt it.
I
think they may have driven down to Mexico.
Yeah. Probably. I don't think they were. I don't know if they were actually.
They went into Baja California is what they did.
I mean, I could have looked that part up, but I didn't think to look that they were actually in Ecuador.
No, I can't see them having the budget for that, or they blew it all on that.
Yeah. I mean, let's put it this way. Their editing was really poor because in the beginning, when the one dude looks up, he could see camera lights in his glasses.
Right.
And then at the end, Jeff Goldblum calls her Cyndi and not Sylvia. When he comes into the...
Yeah, the editing is definitely rushed. You get the sense it's rushed. And it's nothing against any of the people that work there. No. It is not against Ken Kwapis. It is not against Cyndi Lauper or Jeff Goldblum.
No. It's just what it was.
Any of the primaries. It is not against any of them. This movie may have never been expected to be anything other than just a vehicle to make Cyndi Lauper feel better.
Also, it might have just been a movie. Sometimes movies, like any type of entertainment, just needs to be done for the sake of doing it. And, if somebody said, hey, I've got this story. I think it would be fun if we did this. You want to do this movie? Yeah, let's do this movie.
The fact that they wanted Cyndi Lauper so badly to stay in it, that they passed on Dan Aykroyd, who was very hot at the time. I mean, he was in everything.
Oh, yeah.
And to not have that and to go with Jeff Goldblum, who was not as well known then, is a bit crazy. And that says to me that this was always probably a vehicle for Cyndi Lauper because she had some kind of contract with the with the production company or something. And they were like, well, we're going to do this with her. It may not be great, but it's going to get done because we already put money into this whole project. I don't know any of that. It seems that is how it feels to me. Because when I watched this as a kid, I say a kid, I was going into the military. It came out the summer I was going into the military.
Okay. Yeah, and I had just graduated, 7th grade or ninth grade.
So I didn't get to see it until I got out of boot camp. When I got out of boot camp, I saw it on VHS because it was like part of, because the military does get like new movies and stuff for certain areas. And I was working in a certain area that had new movies. And I got to watch, Vibes. It was just on. I saw it in uniform, watching it, sitting there in uniform. And the whole time I'm thinking, oh my God, Cyndi, wear some normal fucking clothes. So
what's funny about that is somebody had asked her if that was her actual wardrobe, and she said Sylvia's clothing are too subtle for her. Like that, no. That would be too subtle of clothing for her style.
It was so outlandish that there was no way you were going to take it seriously. And I think maybe she felt better because it's distracting from her inadequacies as an actor. So it's kind of like wearing some armor. And this is not anything against Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, because I didn't think she did that bad of a job. I really didn't.
She is a sweet person, but she is, then was not an actor.
Oh, no.
It was horrifying to watch as far as like with any kind of critical eye.
Yeah.
But it's okay that that's the case. This was written for her. This was fun for her. This was a learning thing for her. And not everybody, I can tell you, all these actors that have gone through this movie, they all had a crappy movie that they started out on too.
So I didn't look it up. I think this was Steve Buscemi's first, because he was her boyfriend. And he's only in that one scene in the beginning at the racetrack. But I think that was his first
It
film.
may have been. I don't know. But it felt new.
He was a baby.
I know.
It was baby Buscemi.
It was pre-stabbing.
And there are two weird links to Ghostbusters, other than the Dan Aykroyd one. One of them was in the very beginning of the movie, Ingo, the German, I think he's German or Austrian psychic. He correctly identifies the cards, circle, star, wavy lines, which in the very beginning of Ghostbusters, when they're doing the tests with the girl and they're electrocuting.
We're the same. Yes.
Yeah, that's what the guy guessed. And the other thing is this movie was not quoted, it was kind of like described as romancing the Ghostbusters in the Temple of Doom.
Yeah, I mean, it really is.
But like, the budget version, in my opinion. I mean, it definitely was the budget version.
Oh, absolutely. They did everything from a closet.
I mean, and again, like I told you when we were watching it, did the dude in the pan with the pan flute, was he getting paid? And was he learning it as he was going?
He seemed to be surprised he was holding a pan flute. Every time he kept looking down at it going, am I blowing the right one?
Yeah, so that's what made me think he was learning as he was going. But since in every scene, he's sitting on the side of the road playing the pan flute, you have to wonder if that was his permanent job in the town,
I think that, and as a key grip, he was probably doing quite well.
He was the best boy.
He's the goodest boy. Doing a pan flute. That was actually Pan.
That was Pan playing
hardly
his
anyone
flute.
knows that, but that's part of the Vibes thing. That was supposed to be a surprise. It's in the cutscenes.
But I saw this movie on HBO, and I remember it was always on. And it was one of the few movies that my sister and I we would agree on. So it was almost always playing. If it was on HBO, it was on my TV in the background. So I remembered lines as we were watching it. I remembered, I didn't remember all of it. And yeah, it doesn't live up to the memories I have of it. but I was okay with. I was happy with it. Like if it was playing in the background, I would watch it. Like if it came on, I wouldn't like go looking for it again. But if it happened to be on, I would probably listen.
Given that we're not doing critical reviews, let me give you a critical review.
Okay. Okay.
No. Yes, it is not meant to be a critical movie, a movie of high stature. It is meant to be a delivery vehicle to see if Cyndi Lauper can do the things she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. Nothing in the film is them trying to win an Oscar.
No
one is acting like they're ever going to see this movie in the light of day.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum he's acting earnestly. He's really like,
I don't want to be here.
He's putting in the work, but he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, and his character didn't want to be in Ecuador at first until he was convinced that he had to go up there when they went after the hospital scene. But up until that point, it was definitely Jeff Goldblum not wanting to be in Ecuador.
Yeah, and I think that, if you don't have chemistry and you're forcing it, then you're going to have this issue.
Yeah.
And you can tell they just don't have chemistry. It's like watching them kiss is
weird.
Not good. It wasn't good when I first saw it.
But I didn't know any better when I first saw it.
But now I understand why it wasn't good.
I didn't know it wasn't good because, again, I was 14 and I was oblivious. So I really didn't realize that it wasn't good or that they didn't have the chemistry.
I by no means think that they hated each other or anything like that.
No, but they didn't get along, so...
I think they didn't get along because this is coming at a time and Jeff Goldblum was obviously...
He was on the rise.
Pressured to do this movie.
Yeah.
So probably wasn't happy about it. And he gets to work with King Quapis. He gets to work with, he gets his name in with Ron Howard.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of reasons to do the movie. And I'm assuming a lot of things I don't actually know. And there's going to be people that know much more about this than we do.
Yeah.
But we're talking about emotional things and my detection of that emotion. For me, it just seems uneasy. Like they were acting their parts without ever considering the other person's parts. And that to me sounds like a lack of syncopation, a lack of getting together and going over lines, a lack of wanting to be there in the presence of the other person.
Yeah. Unlike,
some other films that we've seen in the past, you can tell they enjoyed each other's presence.
Oh, yeah. And I'm trying to really quickly see how many movies he had done before he did Vibes to see where he stands in his fame, where he was.
Well, he did something that was huge a couple of years before this, which is The Fly.
Yes, he did do.
So he was already really... He was on the rise. This was like his prime.
But honestly though, I feel like somebody who has done Buckaroo Banzai and Transylvania 65000 can basically get over their ego, stow it for a while, and do Vibes.
I don't think it was an ego thing. I think what it was is it's the difference between you going to take out the trash and someone telling you, if you don't take out the trash, then we're going to ruin your career kind of situation. I don't think he was being told, we're going to ruin your career.
No, but
I think he's being, he was being told, you got to do this. We can't have another person walk out on Cyndi Lauper. You're going to make her feel bad. He was pressured to do the film. I'm assuming this. This is all wild assumption. That is what I do, is wild assumption based on very little information.
I think it's funny is he had a little walkthrough uncredited scene in an episode of Columbo. So the fact that Peter Falk, that they got to work together. He's got a huge, amount of movies right before this. And
Earth Girls Are Easy.
That came afterwards.
It came out a year afterwards or 2 years?
No, actually, they came out the same year. I just don't know what
Okay.
time frame. They're shown in chronological, so it shows it after.
So again, telling you that he was very busy.
Mm-hmm.
He was in his prime of making these movies, and yes, they weren't all great movies. I can tell you right now, Earth Girls Are Easy, we're going to go over it.
But it's
not a great movie.
Oh, God, no. But it's got some really great actors in it.
Right. And it could be that this is just a product of the times.
Oh, yeah, because again, I enjoyed it. I was blinded by the cute stupidness of this movie. Things that I look at now and I kind of went, eh. But then I was there. I was invested. I loved their bad dance. I loved their chemistry, even though there was none, because I didn't know. I didn't realize what chemistry was.
You don't really have to like the film for it to be stuck in your head pretty much forever.
Oh, that's true.
So, like, I didn't adore the film. I liked the film back then.
Yeah.
And it's always been in my head that that movie exists, that these actors, Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum were in this movie. It was called Vibes. It is something that is a basis for, like, my movie knowledge. That is what I know. That is a concrete fact.
True. And she did get top billing. So that kind of says something as well. That it was,
this was
Cyndi
her
Lauper vehicle.
Yes. She did Life with Mikey.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
I think that's in 93, I believe.
Yeah. She did an episode of Queer as Folk as well. She did a lot more than I realized. Life with Mikey was 93.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's, she, before this, her stuff was a lot. Oh, yeah, well, Goonies, but she's not really in Goonies. She's just singing. Is she in, it says uncredited for Goonies.
She may have been in it in the background or something.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Oh my God, I remember when she was involved.
It's been years since I've seen it, which, we were going to do as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was so involved in the WWF.
Oh no, I didn't.
Lou Albano.
Yeah.
Captain Lou.
With the rubber bands.
Oh my God, I forgot all about that. But yeah, she's always been a part of my heart. I have always loved Cyndi, and her voice just is beyond measure. And I always thought she was a great singer, but it was watching, this is so randomly obscure, not really for me, but for most people, watching Roger Waters' version of The Wall when the Berlin Wall was taken down and they did the performance at the wall.
Right.
And at the end, she does a song off of his next album, which was Radio. Well, not the next album, but he did it off of Radio. It was off of Radio Chaos. Words. And I think it's called The Tide is Turning, but that might have been on another album. I can't remember the name of the song she sang.
Okay.
But her voice, I think that was when I really went, holy shit in a hat, that woman. She can sing, but they're Cyndi's songs.
Right.
And you hear time after time, and she can sing. But this was somebody else's song, and you hear somebody else singing it, and you know it that way. And sometimes it's off-putting to hear somebody else do a cover of, but she did it beautifully. And I was just, enthralled with her. So, yeah, that was where my love of Cyndi kind of, strengthened. I'd always loved her, but that was it.
Well, so in the beginning of the movie, something, it just, for me, I was like, what would have been more compelling is if everyone wasn't absolutely okay and very sure of psychics existing.
That is weird as well.
It's like in this world, it's much like Ghostbusters with ghosts.
Yeah.
People just go, oh, okay, they exist.
Yeah.
Now we know. That isn't the way it works.
No.
But it's weird that that's how it's portrayed.
But also, if you run a 3-card Monte table, why would you set your shit up right in front of the paranormal offices of blah, 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 whatever the hell that school that was?
And what's his name? The Austrian.
Ingo or something like that. Yeah.
Vita Vita Vici.
Vigo. It's Vigo.
Why is there always one?
I know.
There's always one in
Is
a
it
film.
New York?
I know. But he is wearing the most 90s jacket ever.
Oh, my God.
And if 3-Card Monte by a street hustler isn't 90s.
Yeah, well, that's
or
true,
80s,
too.
not 90s, 80s.
80s.
80s, then I don't know what is. It's just crazy. I was like, wow, the fashion has really... That looks like the future.
Yeah.
Badly written.
Okay, but I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to say shit about Cyndi's hair, not because Cyndi Lauper is known for her weird hair, but because I went to high school with a few people who had that hair. So it was really a thing. That hair existed in that time period, not just because she was famous. It was a thing.
So my question is, how do you get that hair color without frying your hair?
Oh, that takes... I mean, Madonna did that one too. That white blonde.
Right.
It's professionally done, not like what we do in the house.
I know, but even then, you're like, it's
takes-
got to be so much.
It takes a few sessions to get it
Yeah.
that light. You don't get it like that overnight. No.
I can't imagine so. But so yeah, at the start, everyone believes in psychics. There's no one disbelieving except some of the wait staff at that restaurant, I guess. There's
Yeah,
a
because he
restaurant?
did say that he wasn't going to eat in the cafeteria of the university.
The cafeteria of the University of Psychic
Of
Phenomenon,
paranormal
or
blah, blah,
whatever.
blahs.
Yeah, whatever it is, whatever psychic
Yeah.
thing they have set up has that kind of
And they were
funding.
doing testing on different psychics, but it seemed to be only the 5 people sitting around that table at that restaurant.
Yeah, but they were all testing.
They
all
were
in
all
the same
testing.
room.
Different
And
things that happen to be specific to their... Like, were they going around from table to table, like, doing stations?
No.
Like we do in school? Because I do stations in my classroom. Now, were they doing stations, or were
I think they were just set up exactly for their psychic
specific-
ability.
And so, briefly, I'm not going to talk about the other two because honestly, I don't know. We even learned what the other two can do. But Ingo was basically predicting,
Well,
cards and
The older gentleman, he could do telekinesis.
yes.
So,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. He could move stuff.
and he was married to a Miss Universe.
He was.
And he's like, being psychic's not the only thing I do. So, like,
That was
saying either he's rich or he's good at sex. I'm not sure
who
which
knows?
one.
I'm
he's,
good at sex. You're bad at sex.
God.
And so then, so Ingo had the predictive thing, so he could guess the cards. Not predictive. Yeah, predicting. It's that would be
He had prescience.
oppression. Yeah.
Prescience, where he could see ahead.
He had cognitive abilities.
Yeah, he could see ahead in time. I don't...
Claire.
Clairvoyance.
Not Claire. I don't know. I never get the Claires right. And then Jeff Goldblum, he had the ability. His was psychometry. I didn't
Right.
remember that. So he could touch things and tell where they've been, where they came from, and
He could also think about geometry.
Oh,
That's psychometry.
So, where does a psychometry specialist work? In a museum where we're going to touch
I actually
shit all
think
the
that
time.
was kind of cool.
It was, but if you think about it, he had a real, almost like pretty much a meltdown when he touched. So they gave him a bunch of knives, and that's when he decided he wasn't going to eat at the cafeteria because the knife that they gave him was from the cafeteria. And then they gave him a knife from a murder, and he was like, "Why would you do that?" Because it really upset him. And then I'm thinking, but if you work in a museum,
But he's not prepared for it there.
That's true.
In the
He would be
museum,
mentally
he would be more
prepared.
prepared for that kind of
because if he touched that
eventuality.
mummy, there's a good chance that dude had been murdered.
But the thing is, everyone treated it like when they're
Like a
showing
parlor
him,
trick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they're showing him later at his job, everyone, including his quote unquote friend,
Yeah.
who works with him, are treating him as if it's a party trick.
Mm-hmm.
When they're able to get real data from him,
Yeah.
like real things, like
At first, it seems like that when they're like, he's saying, well, this could be the mummy from the blah, 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 time range. And the dude's like, why do all the work? Just touch it. And I get that. It would have cut down a lot of work. He would have gotten the information that they needed. Using it for that could have been, that would have been fine.
Except you're not...
But he was doing it like, cutting out his work,
Yeah, except you're not advancing...
No, you're not.
...anthropology at all. And that's what they're doing in this case, is anthropology. Even though he's supposedly a curator, but they're studying it, which means they're not curating it.
Is it anthropology or is it archaeology? Because archaeology I thought was bones and anthropology was alive. I get them.
No, anthropology is the remain. So archaeology would be digging up the bones.
I thought it was just the study
Anthropology would be the stuff around the bones.
Okay.
It would be like the jugs, stuff like that. They're living days.
Okay, yeah. So I just thought it was like
right.
Past and present.
And I'm sure there's a lot of crossover in that.
Probably.
But you don't have... Some archaeologists are probably also anthropologists. Mm-hmm. But anthropologists is study of culture and people. Yeah. But it applies to the dig site as the things that are found buried with the person.
I think that's where I get it confused, is that I tend to think of anthropology as more of a studying of the living and the cultures, and the archaeology as the dead and the...
Well, if you think about it, that's why Bones is called a forensic anthropologist.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because she's studying the bones themselves as the materials for the culture or whatever.
Yeah.
She's basically doing what Sweets did.
And she does study people.
She's doing what Sweets did with psychology. She is building a roadmap of that person's life. Yeah. So she is doing that, and position.
Even though she has said, she says multiple times in the show that, I don't deal with this, that, and the other thing. She did study the living because she has gone to other, like to the tribes and other continents and studied people.
Just forensic anthropology has a different focus.
Yes.
So while she can be an anthropologist, when she's doing forensic anthropology, it has a different focus.
Yes.
So
that makes sense.
And that's my understanding of all this.
I mean, again,
by no means educated enough to make that distinction.
I always get them a bit flip-floppy in my head, so...
But it's always been something I've enjoyed. I like archaeology better than anthropology because I don't understand human beings.
I actually like anthropology. Like, I realized very late in life that if I had been younger and understood that I could go to college and that I was intelligent, because I didn't think any of this stuff when I was young enough to go to college. I think I probably would have studied anthropology, and if I hadn't, popped out a baby at 19, 20 years old, I think going to other countries and studying people and living in these cultures would have been so amazing. And I think that's something I would have enjoyed doing.
And I would prefer archaeology.
You would have been doing the digs, and I would have been watching the peoples. But yeah, it just didn't happen that way. The dice did not roll in that direction. And I am not psychic, so I could not predict it either.
I did get to assist in a few digs as part of volunteer work in Arkansas for the digs for the university. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Fun.
I want to go, which is not either archaeology and or anthropology, but I want to go dig up stones. Like, and go to the fields where they have all of the crystals and stuff. Oh, that's where I'm going to go. Oh, but they do have sapphire digs and ruby digs around here.
Yeah, they have diamond digs in Arkansas as well.
I want to do that. I think it sounds fun.
So yes.
Yes.
Well, we diverge wildly from vibes again.
Yeah, but that's okay, because,
But we're
humans.
Everyone is fully believed in their abilities, and everyone can show their abilities very succinctly. So there's no ambiguity in their abilities. So even the Austrian guy who seems to be the bad guy at the start, but he seems more...
But he is arrogant.
He seems bored.
Yes.
More than arrogant.
Because when he got it wrong, he got pissy with the guy, like, I think you're wrong, but he got it wrong,
Well, it does take their focus on the card for you to be able to use that ability. That's the whole point of
Yeah,
it.
it's
Isn't you
true.
divining the card, it's you reading their mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm not up on my clairs and my psychic
I
abilities.
know, I'm just saying that's the intention of that test.
But
Well, in this case, that's the intention of this test.
and Sylvia, played by Cyndi Lauper, she has she's a psychic medium, and that is because when she was younger, she had an accident, bumped her head, and
She
Louise
must
appeared.
have bumped her head so very lightly.
Oh my God! Because
Because-
later on she bumps it again,
Very lightly.
and very lightly, and and I'm going back into my bedroom, banging my head on the wall, going, "Come on, I want my own my own medium, I want my own spirit guide."
So
I told you I
have
wanted to be here in
ask,
this movie.
The first time, did Jeff Goldblum just shove her into the wall?
They were like, "Be gentle this time."
Right, because he had to tap her so lightly on the head that you can actually see him calculating the force to use.
Oh,
like
my
he's like
Lord.
trying to be careful.
Yeah, it's so she has Louise, and Louise knows things. And like one of the first things she does is she tells Jeff Goldblum through Cyndi Lauper that his future fiance, because they're not engaged yet, is cheating on him. And he's like, "No, Hillary wouldn't cheat on me," until he picks up her panties later on, and he's like, "A man has touched these."
Have you never touched anything of your significant others in your apartment before?
Apparently, this is something that she had just done. Like, so it wasn't like there was a common thread with her. She didn't do it a lot. Because that's what she said. You were away. So when he was there doing
So it was
that,
a one-time thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it better, but yes.
but she tries to
I
say,
see now.
well, that's like when Peter Falk gives him the shirt and he's telling him that it's his son's shirt. And I'm thinking, you've done your research, right? You know what his ability is, right?
Yeah.
Because he's going to know that that's not your son's shirt. That's all I could think about was he's going to know. How will he know?
No, I get that. And the thing with Peter Falk is he reminds me so much of Last Starfighter Centauri.
Oh my God, yeah.
His energy reminds me of that con man
Yeah.
because they're running the same kind of con. It's really kind of funny.
I need you to
Peter
do
Falk did a
this.
great job. He did such a
Really
good job in this in the entire movie. He is the best actor in it.
He is. He was just happy to be invited and to be a part of it.
And that's what makes you like the movie.
And-
is because this is a person you do not expect to have that kind of energy.
No.
Who is driven. He is driven by pure joy.
And even though he's like, he makes it through, he's in like 3/4 of the movie, he got the last billing. It was like, and Peter Falk. And you're like, okay. And then he's there all the time. And I'm going, dude, why didn't he get like the top billing with these two idiots?
Because it's not about
It's
who's
not
the
about
most
him.
important. And honestly, he is a tertiary character.
He is.
But let's face it, without him,
They
the
wouldn't-
movie couldn't exist.
No.
And without him, you don't get that sense of joy in the film.
True.
He's a puckish con man.
He is definitely the comic
He is
relief.
not the bad guy. So even though he's a con man, nothing about him makes him the bad guy.
No. So there's a few things that he does that makes me, So when the guy who's actually one of the bad guys, but you don't know it at the time, is trying to get him to buy the bracelet or whatever. He's like the silver merchant or
It was
whatever.
a bracelet.
It was a
yeah.
bracelet. And he hands him the money and he's like putting the money by his face. He's like, yeah, eat the money. And then like when he's dying, because, spoiler, Peter Falk dies with a big knife in his back, but he's having his dying breaths. And he's like, don't spend the $50,000. It's counterfeit. And that's like, oh my God, that is so funny. He's conning all the way to death.
He is such a con man.
Yes.
Thing is, they did spend some of that money, by the way.
They did spend some of
But
the money.
yes, he was, every time they caught him in a lie, he, like a chameleon,
Oh, did I say my son? Oh no, I meant my brother, my uncle, my dad,
He doesn't do it seamlessly. You see the colors changing on him, but you're like still mesmerized by the color change.
Oh my God, hysterical.
So he's not hidden in any way. You know he's a con man, but you're like, okay, I'm going to let that slide.
From the get-go. Even when he's standing on the side of the road taking their pictures, you're like, that motherfucker's a con man. I just want to hug him. I know he's long dead, but I want to hug him.
I think he just did such a good job in the movie that it makes you like the movie.
Mm-hmm. I think that, yeah. I
and
think
you
that's
can
what
get
it
past all of the hammy acting, the strong-handed projection. Because let's face it, Cyndi projected a lot.
Yes, but she did really good with languages. They gave her made up.
Oh, yeah, she did.
And when she was singing the German song to Ingo, when she was channeling the mom, that was beautiful.
I'm not
It was
saying,
very, very, like, stoic, but it was very, very pretty.
I think that if she had taken the time to develop and maybe start out doing plays, stuff like that, and maybe she did some of that, but start out on the smaller stage.
Yeah.
If she had earned her place there, it would have made it so much easier for. I understand she was a musician. She doesn't have that kind of time when she's touring all the time.
Yeah.
But honestly, that would have been the way to make it. And I can guarantee you, Dan Aykroyd would not have walked away from that once he could see what she is now. Because even though Cyndi is still playing Cyndi, she is more comfortable with herself.
I agree.
In the roles that she plays Cyndi in.
I fully agree with that, because I can see that if she had the chops underneath her belt, just to be able to get the skills and understanding that you would need to do your acting, especially, we going from stage work, performing music, where you are all over the place, to having to be still and to emote.
She was Anakin.
Yeah.
Because they threw that child in to acting in a major movie, and he had to almost lead this thing because everybody's eyes are focused on the child, on this cute little boy, to act through these scenes, and he is projecting his little heart out.
Oh, yeah.
Because he has no other direction to go, because that's Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Everything is hammed up, everything is over the top, and the jokes come at exactly the weirdest and worst times.
They do.
And so when we're talking about Cyndi doing that same thing, this is her vehicle. She doesn't really have a choice on this, and maybe she begged for this chance. I don't know. But regardless of that, she didn't have the time to develop her skill set.
Yeah.
She didn't have the right tools for this. Even so, it wasn't such a bad movie that you're going, she should never act again.
Oh, no, it wasn't a horrible shit show. It wasn't Short Circuit, which was a shit show.
It was not a good movie.
No, but I don't feel like there was any
But I think that
offensiveness.
It had the heart that it had in it was Peter Falk.
Oh, definitely.
And Jeff Goldblum was an adequate, not a bad, but an adequate lead, a secondary lead.
Yeah.
So Cyndi had exactly what she had to work with no other distractions, because they put them in these isolated little boxes throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And that is isolating to them. There's no one to play off of but the people you already don't get along with or get along with well.
That's true.
So you have no place to go from there. And
you can see that Cyndi and Peter Falk got along. Like, you could see that
it seems like they did.
had
Either
more-
that or Peter Falk could act like crazy.
True. I just feel like they had fun.
I think so. I think Peter Falk liked everybody.
Yeah.
I like to think the way that he is in this movie and the way that I know he is in real life, based on the biography that I'd seen. It was on YouTube. I can't remember. I'll try to find it and put a link in.
Okay.
He wasn't a sour person. He loved doing things. He loved his life. Mm-hmm. He really enjoyed what he did. he was one of those people
Mm-hmm.
that rarely, found the bad in things.
Yeah.
So
I can see that.
it's always surprising when I see the energy that he does not display in Columbo.
Yeah, because Columbo is a very subdued. I mean, he's a smarmy, sarcastic character, but he's not mean. Like, he's not. When I say smarmy, I don't mean it in an arrogant way. I just mean, like, the sarcasm. He was very sarcastic, but he did not. He was just very. I'm here. I'm doing what I'm doing. I got to do this now. Like, this is what I'm seeing. This is what's happening. But
Columbo had a tragic past.
yes,
That's what you get from Columbo.
Yes.
Had a tragic past of some kind that made him very dour, very analytical, and this is what he did, and he did nothing else. In this movie, you get the jocular. He loves life. He is very open to. He's open to this. He sought them out. Without knowing the results of tests, he sought them out.
And
everybody believes in psychics in this world. It's crazy.
Yeah. But having...
Except for the 3-card money guy.
But him playing Harry is light. He's I'm going to make a buttload of money in this mountain. I know there's treasure up here. I'm going to get it. He is the Danny DeVito. If you're going to compare it to Romancing the Stone.
Oh, yeah.
And... yeah, he is the Danny DeVito. And so his
vice is greed, but it doesn't make him a heartless person.
No, it doesn't.
It just makes him... He's Joe Pesci in Lethal Weapon.
He really is.
He's the foil. He's the comedy. He's the thing that brings everyone together. He's the heart, which is what I said. So... it's always interesting to see people take on characters like that you don't expect.
Yeah.
And honestly, the second time watching this, I am still shocked by his acting in this movie.
I just forgot he was in it.
I didn't really... I knew he was in it. I couldn't remember what role he played.
Yeah.
And when he came on the scene, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. He does do this. And I was just still amazed by the light he brings into the film. This movie seems very dour. And the brightness of Cyndi Lauper's dresses and stuff like that.
It's not enough.
Only plays to show you how dour it feels.
Well, yeah, because in the end, it's not a treasure, but some ancient way to destroy humanity.
Yeah, I don't really... like, nothing is taken from this movie. At the end of the movie, you're not getting anything out of this.
No, there's no
resolution.
Moral, there's no resolution, because they don't, destroy it. They just run away from it. They get rid of the people who are involved, and then they leave. Right. Anybody could find this again. Granted, the likelihood of anybody else being able to translate what she translated because she was using her spirit guide is probably slim. But the fact that she could is, and then what she could translate was that this was some evil power source that was going to destroy humankind. I
agree.
So, yeah, not a treasure. But in modern society, I don't know. I would be willing to ignite that.
Give it a shot and just see what happens.
Yeah, let's fire up them engines, bitches.
So, what do you think about the Castellini test?
So, here's the thing.
Come on.
This time around, I was actually going through it and writing down names and paying attention to what they were talking about. I'm going to say...
I shoot from the hip.
I'm going to say yes.
You think it'll pass the Castellini test?
I think it's going to pass Castellini. Though I could be wrong, but I think it's going to pass.
I think it's going to fail.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Well, let's go for it.
No, I don't really know, but I'm just going by the hip. So there have to be at least 2 named women characters with at least 5 lines of dialogue each.
Well, let me get my notes out. We have...
Don't say Cyndi Lauper. Can't use her.
Yes, I can.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Sylvia Pickell. Not Pickle. Pickell.
Except?
All the lines.
Okay.
Okay. We have Hillary, the slutty girlfriend who cheated on Jeff Goldblum. Yes, she had more than 5 lines. Consuelo, Elizabeth Pena's character. And she had more than 5 lines. Okay.
Those characters must have a conversation, not necessarily with the other woman, either not about their partner or with their partner, future or current, and not about their relationship. That disqualifies the slutty girlfriend.
Yes, but it does not disqualify Consuelo because she's there to A, seduce him, and B, kill him.
It is kind of about their relationship.
But it's not a relationship.
The murderer-victim relationship.
So when you say talk about their relationship, I'm talking about...
No, I'm playing.
Yes.
I'm playing,
so,
obviously.
yeah, so I'm going with that.
I'll have to tell you, that murder, that death, the death that she dies is like the best Jeff Goldblum death ever.
I know.
Where he just kind of turns, accidentally killing her because she just falls out of a window.
Out the window, yeah.
It is quintessentially exactly what I think of when I think of Jeff Goldblum going into combat.
Accidentally killing people on purpose.
People just die while he turns around and they trip over him, or like just bad things happen to them whenever they get near him.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of seems like would happen. So that's why we should, make
Be
sure
afraid of Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah. It would make him into an elite force.
I mean, sure.
I know a guy.
I know a guy.
He was in Predator.
Oh my God. So, yeah, I do think that that's definitely, because again, like you said, Hillary and Nick talking about their relationship because obviously she cheated on him and that's their relationship. Now, Nick and Sylvia do talk about relationships, not necessarily theirs, and when they do talk about theirs, they've talked about other things. It's not just the relationship that they discuss. And Consuelo, she just wants to get him into the room so she could stab him.
True. And that's straightforward, I think.
Yeah.
That is a good
check
relationship to have.
Check mark. I say it.
Sure,
passes.
she wants to kill you, but she is direct.
And it does say one or both, right? It doesn't mean both all of the women.
Those characters must have a conversation.
Those characters. Okay. So.
Not necessarily with the other woman either. Not about
I'm
their
going to say 2 out of 3.
Okay, well that's 2.
Okay.
At least one of the women has to be integral to the plot, meaning that if she were written out of the film, it couldn't reach the same ending.
Okay. Cyndi Lauper. If you take Sylvia out of the plot, there's no movie. It would not...
Jeff Goldblum gets them there.
It wouldn't be the same. His powers aren't enough.
You think it wouldn't reach the same ending in which...
No. I think he wouldn't have gone because she's the reason why he even went to Ecuador. Remember, he went back home.
Okay.
She she doesn't bump into Harry. Harry breaks into her house. And then he offers her the chance to go.
Which should have told you right there that he's a con man.
He broke into your house, sweetheart, and he's eating your food. But he convinces her.
Dove bar, thank you very much.
Now I want a Dove bar. So he convinces her that he needs help to save his son, which then convinces her to convince Nick to come. So if she wasn't there, he wouldn't go.
Right.
And so no, the movie was not. It would not be able to be if Cyndi Lauper's character was written out of it. So it passes the Castellini test.
Above those 3 steps, those 3 questions that get us here, logically, you can see that she is not beholden to any of these men.
No, she's not.
She chooses what she chooses, and she does what she does, irregardless of their wants or desires. And she makes her own decisions.
Yes.
Where she is weak is only in her relationships and how to deal with them.
Yes.
But that is everyone's issue, not a woman's issue.
No, she has a problem with that, and that's you see it in the beginning when she basically propositions the doctor, Dr. Steele, to move in with her.
Right.
we've worked together for a week, and do you want to move in with me? That's kind of a lot. I do think that. Oh, and then I'll get to that in a second. But what she does for Steve Buscemi, for Fred, he takes her to the racetrack, convinces her that, if she can just get Louise to tell me who's the winning horse, we're going to go do da 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 da, and she's thinking she's doing it for him, that he's changed to get back with her. She convinces Louise, her spirit guide, and Louise wanted nothing to do with him, but gives her the number. They find out the horse that's winning. He wins all this money and literally drops her like a hot potato on the carpet because
for the woman who's been waiting for him at the exit
outside the track. So yeah, big fat dick, but yeah, she has not really good picks in men.
But that has nothing to do with the equity. She's
got amazing morals. She, in the sense of she's got, when we were talking about Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, it's that humanity. She has that.
She has the autonomy to make her decisions. It's not being made. None of this is being made for her. Yeah. When they choose to leave and she starts to leave, Peter Falk's character goes after them like, hey, come on. He tries to convince them. He's not forcing her.
Nope.
The one instance in which they're all held captive, not just her.
The only time she follows is when Louise is telling her to go the other way, but Nick's got the stone that they got from the guy in the hospital, and it's leading them in a different direction, and she wants to go the way Louise is telling them, and she says, that way, Louise is saying bad things are going to happen to us, death and bad things. And he's like, no, well, Nick is saying that the stone is leading us this way. We're going to go this way. And she kind of has to go. And that's the only time she really kind of gives up and goes with the crowd is in that moment, because she's got to stay with these two idiots because they're going to be dead. In her mind, she's probably thinking, I'm the one who's going to have to keep these two shitheads safe. She doesn't think that, like, later on when Nick walks off with the stone at night and to go investigate, they had just had a fight over, that's it. They kiss. And she tells him, he's like, well, wait, why are you kissing me? And she's like, you saved me. You tried to save me when you thought I was in danger. And I find that really attractive. And she doesn't say it right. So he takes it as she's trying to pay him back with her body. That wasn't it at all. She just literally went, dude, this guy just like almost died. He got stabbed. And then he tried to save me. Holy shit, that's a good guy. I've only met these assholes and this is a good guy. That was her thinking and why she was trying to start something with him. But he didn't see it that way.
Well, I think what that was trying to show is he is different than the other men she's trying to be with.
True.
In which they would readily accept for a tumble in the hay.
Oh, yeah.
Without a thought. He has a thought. He is being gentlemanly.
And I'm not faulting him for that, but I'm just saying that he just misinterpreted what her intentions were.
Right.
And so he goes off with the stone and he follows it and it's leading him off. And then the next morning they don't see him. They can't find him. And her thought is that he left, not that he got hurt. So when Peter Falk's like, well, maybe he just fell off one of these cliffs, kind of like blasé about that too.
Right.
That's when she goes, oh, no. But I have to admit, when he says, like, at the end, when he comes in and he's holding the cup that she didn't actually touch and he's trying to predict about her, he says, that she's in love with him. And I'm thinking, bitches, you barely know each other in a month. Let's just tone this down. Now, I do believe in love at first sight, but
that's reserved for us, damn it.
It's reserved for people who have chemistry. It's reserved for people who don't look at each other like a fly on a piece of potato salad. Like, ugh. That's kind of, it's, again, there's a lot. I love this movie. I still love this movie.
I don't dislike the movie.
No, I mean,
I can acknowledge that it's a crap movie.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
while still enjoying that the movie exists. I think it's important that the movie exists because it gives you a real window.
Yeah, I mean,
into not just that time, but also the style.
Oh, definitely.
The style of the movie, the style of the people that dress that way. It is in itself an anthropological window
Yeah.
into that timeline.
I didn't even think of it that way, because literally, I mean, seeing her dressed like that, and even Jeff Goldblum's weird cinch-sacked pants, because the man was a goddamn string bean in the day. And I'm not judging on, I'm not trying to shame or anything. It's just that's what the pants style was. It was these pleated, and I'm going, damn, we had some shitty clothes.
It's always fun seeing clothes from your youth.
Oh my God! But you're right. I can love something and destroy it. And if we ever build up enough of a following to start a Patreon, our listeners can get to listen to little clips about how much I can destroy a television show or a movie that I love, and I can tear that bitch apart and still love it with all of my heart and soul, but destroy it.
It's kind of like, you can't talk about my brother, but I can talk about
shit
my
about
brother.
It. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. Don't say anything about my mom, but I will tell you everything bad about,
So I guess we know your feelings about the film itself, but how do you feel after watching the film? Is it changed for you in an emotional way?
In an emotional way, I mean, it's a little sad that the nostalgia is gone of when I, always would say, oh God, vibes. And I would have that, that nice warm feeling in your heart that you get from something that is nostalgic. And maybe it's just me, or maybe it was just heartburn, but I think I've lost that. I think I'm not going to look, I would, like I said, I would still watch the movie if it came on, but I think I've lost the nostalgia for it, only in the sense that you're right. It doesn't 100% hold up, but there is still something about it that gives me happy, just remembering. I mean, I can remember watching it, and I remember a specific outfit I was wearing because it was my favorite outfit at the time. It was a bright pink t-shirt with teal lettering that said Spring Break 88. No, I have never been on spring break, but that was what I wore. And with these white shorts, and I friggin' love this outfit. I don't know why I loved it so much, but I remember wearing.
That's suspicious, because that's the same shirt I had. Was a teal shirt with a pink 88 on it. That was my graduation shirt.
That was your graduation shirt?
It was like the t-shirt for graduation.
Oh, that's so funny.
So were you wearing my shirt?
No, mine was pink with teal letters. It also had palm trees on it.
So weird.
No, but your school colors weren't teal and
they
pink.
Weren't, but I think I have the photos in there. I have the shirt. I had the shirt for a very long time.
Okay. I don't think I have a picture of me wearing that shirt.
It's weird that that's the combination of colors.
Yeah, and it's that bright 80s teal. Almost.
Yes.
Yeah. It was a weird. Oh my God, it was so horrible. But I
had no problem wearing it. Even in my, like, trying to,
Oh, no, because those were the colors. Everybody wore the colors.
Right.
And that was the thing. That's one thing I have to say about the 80s, is that the fear of colors didn't exist.
Oh, yeah, you were going to wear pink.
You were going to wear pink. You were going to wear you were going to wear the fluorescents, and you were going to wear things that were like opposites on the color wheel because they popped. You're going to wear yellow and maroon, because they go.
The way that they knew you were gay in the 80s is, do you dress like Hollywood in Mannequin?
It was all about the weird glasses,
right?
Earring.
That's how they knew. Otherwise, they couldn't tell.
No,
if you were kissing another guy,
you couldn't.
Still
tell.
no idea.
Couldn't tell.
But if you wore the sunglasses with the weird shapes, suddenly they're like, "Hey, that gay guy's kissing that straight guy." Because the other guy's not wearing the sunglasses.
Nicely polished capezios, some there was a lot of things that kind of gave away the gay, but it wasn't the tongue down the guy's throat.
Yeah, it was definitely the outfits.
We do have to do Mannequin, and that's going to upset me too. I know it will, because every time I get excited about one of these movies,
I want this to be a good movie. Please still be a good movie, but I know it's going to be a horrifying movie. It is going to be so much.
And I don't
misogynistic, sexist crap. I just know it is.
It's so sad.
And I hate that. I don't want it to be.
But this movie did not have that. So if you notice that, even though Sylvia hits on the guys. Even so in the beginning, and not in the beginning, but when they first get to Ecuador and they're in the restaurant, and she's like, I'm lonely. I want to meet somebody, but I'm looking for somebody rich, and he's not really batting an eye, other than whenever she says all the guys I meet are blah blah blah, and he's like, oh thanks, but. And then she makes the joke, she tries to get their attention and makes the joke about the Aston Martin or something like that.
Right. No, the Rolls Royce.
The Rolls Royce. It wasn't a joke. She just makes a comment about how...
Well, she's asking the question...
to get the attention.
Does something on the bar open from left to right?
Yeah, and to see who answers.
To see who answers, that means they know about it.
They would know it, and then if they know it, then they're going to be able to answer. So doing that... Then when she introduces, herself and her brother Ziggy, that's, Jeff Goldblum's character.
Who he sees them kissing later on and thinks nothing about it.
But, Jeff Goldblum, Nick, he doesn't care. He's like, oh, you're going to go off with your rich guy. Go have fun with your rich guy. There's nobody shames her for her, I don't even want to say.
He does ask her about her dresses.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that's not that high?
Yeah, that doesn't show your bosom. And she says, I bet you say penis too.
Oh, yeah, the bosom, yeah.
But even then, she calls him out on it. So
it's more of like joshing someone than it is an actual critique, because she gives it right back, and that's where it ends.
Yeah, he doesn't come at her. He doesn't, you don't have to be a tramp about it or whatever. He doesn't give her shit. He just asks a question. Do you have any dresses that don't show your bosoms? And she, like I said, she comes right back at him. So, I'm trying to think, but even the bad guys don't give her shit for being the girl.
Right.
She's not seen as the helpless girl. They even have to separate them because, now granted, they have more security on him than they do on her. But I still don't feel like there's the misogyny is low, considering it's 1988.
Oh yeah, no, it's almost non-existent by those standards.
And they had people who were Latin playing the people from Ecuador, instead of having it cast by people who had darker skin. They actually had people from Ecuador playing the people from Ecuador. I'm assuming, because I didn't look that much up. I should have, and I feel bad about that now. I always think of things after the fact.
I don't know that Vibes has that much to find out online.
No, I really don't think so
I tried,
either.
And there wasn't much.
No. Everything I told you was everything I can find, literally. Sometimes I only do pick and choose 5 or 6 things, and half the time I only get to 3 of them. And this was it. I emptied out my load,
I don't think anyone that was attached to Vibes is thinking of it fondly as a great experience and a lifelong treasure.
Yeah.
But what I think is they saw it as the job that it was, and we see it as nostalgia.
True.
And I think that's okay. That's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Not everything has to be the best in the world. Sometimes our nostalgia is just fine.
So, how, and this is, again, for our listeners at home who don't always know what's going on while we watch a movie, or if it's your first time listening, I tend to watch movies with a game on my phone, and half the time I'm listening more than I'm actually watching. And I'll watch some scenes, but then I'm not actively watching other scenes.
Right.
Is it bad? Is it bad that in my head for Ingo, I vaguely picture the actor who actually played Ingo, and I picture James Corbin from when he was on Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know if it's bad, but it's fairly accurate.
That's fairly accurate, because he was a little chunky then, and this guy's a little chunky. And so that's what I picture in my head whenever I'm thinking of Ingo, whenever we talk about the movie outside of, and I forgot about his character until we were watching it.
Right. I couldn't even picture who the bad guys were.
No, I thought it was an older guy.
And the funny thing is, whenever someone mentions Vibes, which is usually just you, because
nobody else remembers
you and I
it.
are the only two that ever watched it.
Yeah.
Is when you say it, the very first thing I think is, for some reason, Cyndi Lauper and Balky from Perfect Strangers or whatever it was.
What the hell is his name? I can't think of his name.
I can't remember his name, but because he did play a psychic or a guru in something.
Yeah, he did. He had that.
And for some reason, I've tied those movies together in my head to where I have to separate them after first thinking about it.
True. Oh, yeah. That's funny. I don't think about him. I mean, I know I think about Jeff Goldblum, but I also want to think of the Jeff Goldblum of now. Even though I know, but with like younger looks.
Right. More weathered, a more serious demeanor.
Because I love him now. I love the silver fox he has become. That I don't know why. And again, we play D&D, and our DM, he had a character he created, and we tend to put him on the spot sometimes of meeting characters I don't think he's prepared for us to meet. And he pulled a voice and a personality.
Jeff Goldblum ever.
And it was Jeff Goldblum. And he's like, he did not do it on purpose. But he had that manic and the pauses, and we're going, dude, this is Jeff Goldblum. And my character was just, from that point forward, that was her man. I mean, I don't care if he was like 1,000 years older than her. She was there. She loved him. Yeah. But Jesus Christ. You look up Perfect Strangers and you get the movie Perfect Stranger. I was trying to look up the actor's name. So yeah.
Put TV show at the end.
I meant to. I got movie. Oh, God damn it.
I can never remember his name. He's just always Balky to me.
Yeah. Fook.
He was in The Langoliers. He was an asshole.
Bronson Pinchot. See, I was going to say Bronson Pinchot, but I'm like, no, he was one of the James Bonds.
Oh, God.
No, but it was Bronson Pinchot.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was Balky.
But he did some movie that was very much like Vibes, I believe.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I conflate the two as if they are all together in the same movie.
And he did that before, right? He did that way before he did The Langoliers. Oh,
I don't know if he did or not. I know it was after the TV series he was in.
Oh, yeah. No, he was well done with...
I think it was only like a year or so after that ended. He was still kind of riding on that.
Yeah, I agree. He is still busy. He's doing something, a miniseries called The Residence. So
no, I'm sure he's working. I mean, he's a good actor. He's a great actor.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, it's just not something that... I don't remember that movie.
Yeah, and he was in the cartoon I Am Weasel. I forgot about that show. He was in Beverly Hills Cop. Wow. He was in Risky Business?
Yes.
Who was he in Risky Business?
I thought he was one of the Johns.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Isn't he?
He was in Good Morning America.
Or is he one of the frat guys?
Oh, never mind. I was thinking Good Morning Vietnam. Blame It on the Bellboy. I forgot about that one.
We're just going to name all his movies?
Oh, I'm looking through. I was trying to find that other movie, but I forgot. Second Sight.
Second Sight. That's it.
That was actually before that was during Perfect Strangers.
And what date?
89. Perfect Strangers was 86 too.
So Vibes came out, then that came out. Oh. I bet he was mad as hell.
Oh, probably.
Because that pulled like a very similar vibe. And see what I did there?
Yeah.
It pulled a very similar situation, although I'm betting it's not the same exact, but it is that general, hey, a psychic is, and then he has to kind of fight against that stigma because it did not do well.
No. So, if you want to watch this movie, you can find it on Tubi for free, YouTube, Amazon Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, Fandango. They all run weirdly between $2.99 and $3.99. It totally blew my $79 to $3.99 theme that I had going on there. And for our next film, I'm excited about this next one. Here are your two clues. Ron Howard turned down directing 2 other movies, Mr. Mom and Footloose, to make this movie. And in this movie, the main character is watching TV. And in the background, a commercial comes on. And that commercial is for Crazy Eddie, or Crazy Eddie's. And that was a real ad for a real chain of stores that closed in 1989 with 43 stores at that time. I grew up in the area, and Crazy Eddie ads were constant throughout my childhood. So those are my 2 clues for the next movie.
Nice. I forgot what the next movie is. So now I'm trying to guess. Okay, we've gone through so many.
I know.
Like when we're talking about movies, I forget which one it is we're doing, and I haven't looked at my schedule. So thank you for listening to Once More with Feelings, the Emotional Journey podcast.
And this was emotional. I'm heartbroken. No.
I hope that you're able to vibe along with us to the movie Vibes from 1988. It's not a great movie. It's a bad movie. But it's not.
There are worse movies.
But it's not a fun movie. Mm-hmm. And I think that if you watch it, you get at least to make fun of it for all the right reasons and enjoy Peter Falk, who I think dances in this film. He literally dances through it.
He does.
This has been Once More with Feelings with Beth and Michelle. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Blue Sky at OMWFPod. Visit our page at oncemorewithfeelings.podbean.com or send us an email at omwfpod@gmail.com. Take a moment to subscribe and rate us on iTunes, YouTube, and wherever else you find us.
Oh my God. Harry?
So you got a little wound.
A woman. She's dead.
Dead? A woman?
Yes.
Where?
It's easy to spot. She's the one that's dead. That's odd.
Police must have hauled her off.
No. It's only been 5 minutes. We'd have heard the police. There'd be one of the shock outlines of the body. No.
Maybe she bounced. Like out of the hotel. Women are soft.
A gang. Her gang took her away so that no questions could be asked.
Right. So we're discounting the bouncing.